Where are we looking at? Right there in the middle?
You can look there, you're probably gonna
You
look at us,
yeah.
and then it'll
Okay.
just
Cool.
do what it's gonna do.
We're like queens of like the side profile.
Okay,
we
I
sit
got
here
you.
just
So
talk
like
to
I'm
each other.
straight on. Okay.
You are, you're
All
dead
right.
on.
I like
Yeah.
it. Okay.
All right, we are back with Beavercreek Township Trustee candidate Joseph Jenkins.
Hi, how are you?
Hello.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So Joe is a husband to Amanda. He also has 2 sons and is a small business owner with an entrepreneurial background.
Yes.
And you are a board member of Violence Free Futures in Greene County.
Yes. Correct. Yeah, one of a few different ones, but yeah, that's an important one. So,
Yeah.
Very good.
Awesome. So thank you for coming. We
Thank
wanted
you.
to just
Thank
kind
you guys
of
for having me. Like,
Absolutely.
So grateful. Thank you.
Yeah, we wanted to just get to know you, talk about kind of why you're running.
Yeah.
And then we'll go from there.
Okay. I'm Joseph Jenkins. Like I said, I'm running for Beavercreek Township Trustee, and I'm running for lots of reasons. One in particular is my wife and I, we have a 62-acre farm in the township, and with the growth, and I'm sure in real estate, as you guys both know, that's kind of a hot topic right now is growth, and what does growth look like? And with us being so involved in our community, it's something that I'm really looking forward to being a part of as we grow. That's one really that's one reason why I want to get involved in this position. Like currently, I'm serving on the BZA at Beavercreek Township, which is their Board of Zoning Appeal.
Okay.
So I mean, I'm already a little bit involved with the township, and then with the other things I'm involved in our community. I'm going to be vice president of Rotary Club Beavercreek next year. Like I said, you said Violence Free Futures is another one. I'm really involved with the Beavercreek wetlands. Involved with our church, Be Hope. The list goes on and on and on. So
Great.
I just love our community. That's all.
So
Yeah.
township trustee is kind of just the next step up.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm so thankful for all the blessings that God has put in front of me, and it's just that's the next thing. I can't
Yeah.
wait for it. So yeah.
Great to be involved, and especially since you're rooted in the community, that's a very important aspect to bring to the table.
Yeah.
Younger minds coming forward and serving is absolutely what we want to encourage.
Yeah.
So we're glad you're doing
Yeah.
that. And
Well, thank you.
this is going to be a positive thing today. We're
Yes.
going to get to teach
I
people
can't wait.
about
I'm
you.
so excited. So excited.
All right. So one of the things I looked at your website,
Yeah.
and you're talking about fiscal responsibility by safeguarding taxpayer dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Can you kind of explain that?
So that's a loaded question. Okay, let's start with that. Okay.
We're good at those.
Okay. All right. So how much time we got? Right.
We
No.
can make this 2 episodes.
Okay.
if we
Can we?
need to.
Okay. All right. So property tax, like in the township, it's let me start with the township side first. Okay. So we have to abide by the ORC, the Ohio Revised Code. So when you think of tax dollars, we get our tax dollars from the state. So when we talk about this hot topic button, which everybody wants to talk about, abolishing property tax, you have, to me, it's okay. I don't like taxes like everyone else, right? We have 62 acres, so
Right.
when we talk about taxes, it's a every year at that time of year, it's like writing that check.
The
It's like,
sore subject. Yeah.
you know what I mean? No, but it's recognizing that what does that pay for, and looking past the fix. So if we would abolish property tax, and I think this is my CEO, my entrepreneur background is, I always ask myself, look upon the fix. Like, so if we abolish it, what does that look like exactly? And to me, it's well, we have our roads, being paved. It's our, our fire and EMS. They're big things. It's our part. Well, we're on the township. We haven't jumped in the city yet, but it's on the township side. It's our roads. It's our fire and EMS, our parks. So that's kind of where our property tax comes from on that side. Now let's talk about the incorporated side. Okay, with the city. So the city, it's fire, EMS, parks. Admin. I mean, it's a lot of different things.
Where do schools fall in on this?
The schools, sorry, thank you. Let me backtrack. With the township, I forgot the schools. So that is another hot topic, especially in Beavercreek right now.
Right.
So, schools is the big one. So if you look at the township budget in particular, right, fire and EMS is a big one. The schools are a big one, just like the cities is. So it's, if we get rid of this property tax thing, it's how are we going to fund all of these things, which is going to be a tricky thing to.
Yeah, because especially in Beavercreek, you have Trebine, who's basically a brand new school. I think, what is it, 8 or 10 years old? And they're already in trailers
Yeah.
for the older grades.
Yeah.
So, and especially Trebine's zoned area is what is being sold for all of these farms that are being sold off onto these developments where there's, I don't even know how many homes,
Multiple houses
you know,
going
already
in at once.
approved to go
Yeah.
in. But I don't feel like the current people in charge, the current trustees and whomever, have created any kind of a plan to fund the expansion of the schools beyond, oh, well, just raise taxes, raise the taxes.
So let's backtrack real quick. So we talk about like the growth, right? And that is such a hot topic, right? You know,
And that's why there's been at least one levy, possibly two, that have failed because you can't keep coming back to the same pot and being like, okay, more.
We don't
Yeah.
have a plan, but
More,
we
please.
need more money.
More,
Yeah.
please. Yeah.
Yeah. And see, like, to backtrack kind of what you said, let's talk about the growth. It's substantial. It's happening so fast, especially in the township. I mean, it's growing, you know, so quickly.
Yeah.
You know, to me and you know, a lot of people, I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you guys have dealt with it, where you get like the angry phone calls from people where they're like, well, they just put this new development, you know, behind me. And it's like, well, we need to do something about it. Well, you know, unfortunately, you know, again, back to the Ohio Revised Code, and there's certain things that we have to, you know, think about this way. It's somebody once told me, it's like, how would you feel about someone, you know, telling you what to do with your land, right? And because essentially it does fall to the owner, right? They have, you know, the rights to, you know, do whatever they want with it, right? If they want to sell their farm, they want to take their money cash out. I mean, that they can, right?
Yeah.
But you know, I think that's when the zoning. I think that's when, you know, there needs to be proper setbacks. You know, I mean, there's substreets are already created. You know, you can't, what is it, your view behind you might be trees, or it might be like a river. Well, if you got a river, you know nothing's ever going to be built there because it's, you know, a river, right?
Yeah,
You
true.
know, if you got trees or something behind it, well, you know, well, and you see, you know, a substrate, well, there might be something coming in the future, but again, I guess what I'm trying to say is when it comes down to, you know, the property of a developer, you know, it's the landowner, you know, they can kind of do with which they want.
Yeah, but the township officials need to be working with them to plan how to deal with the expansion in
Oh,
the
I
future.
agree. 1,000%.
And I don't feel like that
1,000%.
is being done specifically in Beavercreek Township right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like 1,000%. I mean, there needs to be a lot more, you know, when these developers come in and it comes in front of the zoning boards, you know what I mean? It's like, hey, are the proper setbacks in place? Do you know what I mean? let's be considerate of, you know, what does that development actually look like, instead of
Well,
just
this
doing
is-
a development and then.
This is typically something that takes place over a period of years.
Oh, correct.
This
Yes.
isn't something that happens overnight. And
Yeah.
we have a very similar experience happening here in Washington Township. But, you know, the farmland has been sitting vacant and or not being used or been listed, and finally it gets sold. And prior to it getting sold, that developer has gone before the community board and asked, is this a possibility? Can we do this? So you have to figure there's 6 months to a year and a half pre-planning before that even goes under contract,
Absolutely.
right? They're not going to buy it and then start the process to see if they can build
Correct.
the 20 homes, probably more than that. If we're honest, it's probably 70 or more homes that are going into a subdivision to make it beneficial for a developer. Or in the case that Washington Township is, people just figured out that the farm that was sold on Paragon, on Yankee and Spring Valley is now going to be multifamily. So there are going to be apartments put there, and everybody is suddenly freaking out. And it's like, you can't tune into the channel news now and figure out what the backstory is. You have to be engaged and hearing what's going on in your community, which is why this is a great aspect.
Yeah.
She can bring information in from where she lives, I bring it in
Yeah.
from where I live, and then we try to get the experts in the room,
Yeah.
right? But the reality is that this is something that does happen over a course of time. And yes, property taxes is a very debatable
Yeah.
issue right now.
Yeah, it's a hot topic.
But those developers are getting property tax abatements usually and tax waivers because of the money that they're going to put into that project. But when they build, the cost of what they're building is at a higher value than those surrounding homes.
Yeah.
And now they're reappraised based on that, and that's the pushback.
Yeah.
That's why people are like, wait a minute, I don't want more development coming in because all they're doing is increasing my basis, and I didn't get the benefit of that.
Yeah.
Right? So what we want are people in those positions that can say, as you said, there is a multi-prong approach that needs to take place. Yes, the abolish property taxes, that petition is something that is out there. That's to apply the pressure. Because legislators have had this for over 5 years, kicking it back and forth, and they still haven't accomplished the goal. So we're going to say, we're going to keep that pressure there, because if it goes away, then you're going to figure out what else needs to happen. But we should be talking about what else can we do, and what can we help our immediate needs. Because once the state changes the overall plans, then it's still going to come to the municipality levels.
Correct.
And there's still going to be levies, and there's still going to be gasoline taxes that everybody pays. That's supposed to take care of our road tax. We just want transparency.
Yes.
We want to
Amen.
know,
Yes.
where is the money going and how much does it actually cost? And hey, if you have a surplus, you don't get to come back and ask for more. You have to spend what is in the budget.
Yes.
Spend it appropriately, be transparent about it. And if there's more funds that are needed, hey, maybe we can have that conversation, because then I'm going to understand, my perspective, and I understand yours.
Yes,
Does that
absolutely.
make sense?
Oh no, and if you and like I think I said a little something to you about this before, right? Ask me why am I running?
Yeah.
Transparency. You said two words that were so crucial and important why I want to get involved.
Okay.
Is accountability.
Yep.
Transparency. You know what I mean? And a little bit of civility.
Yeah.
We all need a little bit of civility, but you know what I mean? But it is.
We can have different
Yeah,
opinions.
Absolutely, and I love
But
that.
you just have to be able to engage,
Yes.
communicate, and understand. Because if I understand what the needs are on this side, I can better help this side.
Absolutely.
So we
Absolutely.
love that you're willing to have this conversation.
Because it's because I do and I care about it, because you're right. It's the accountability, it's the transparency, and I always say this all the time. It's like people don't know what they don't know.
Correct.
And yes, as a government officials and being an elected position, yes, they do put it out there, and and when I talk about transparency, and this is something that if you look at my track record, it shows is going the extra mile. Like, okay, you could put the information out there, because a lot of information out there, but they make it so hard to find it, you can't find it, right?
Correct.
Instead of being like, hey, let me put this out here. Hey, this thing is coming. You
Here's
know what
our
I mean?
financial report. Yay!
Yeah. But again,
Yeah.
you hit the hammer on the head for me, and it's like there's so many people that I talk to in this community about it, where they're just from the government standpoint, it's like, hey, well, it's out there. Well, go the extra step.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that comes to it, the transparency, being a little more accountable, and then civility. That's like, to me, it's like you said, I recognize that there are times in life where, in particular with people, it's like, I'm going to throw politics in there just for a second, is that I feel like as human beings, we've lost the ability to debate. We have lost the ability, because it's either you're red or you're blue, and if you're red, it's like anything that somebody blue says, it's like,
Yep.
you know what I mean? And I miss that,
Yeah.
in particular, and I want to get back to where, that we can have open, transparent conversations, we can have debates, and I'm going to throw in this word, respect.
Yes.
I feel like there's no respect. It's like, I'm right and you're wrong, and I'm right.
Right.
Instead of being like, hey, look, can we have a discussion about this?
There's a lot of gray area
Yeah.
to live in
Do you know
out
what I
there,
mean?
people.
And and my wife, and God, I love my wife, Amanda. You know what I'm going to say, is that it's I love my wife to death. Like, I always make the joke that she is the like when you look at us as a whole, like, her and I can't be any more opposite, right? Like, my wife is black and white. I am a lot of gray, because it's you have to be
Got
willing.
that balance
Yeah,
then.
absolutely. She'll tell you. She's like, and there's sometimes like she just wants to like wring my neck. You know what I mean about it. You know what I mean? She's like, give me the details. I'm like, it's not that simple. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
right.
But yeah, that's kind of it. But
Good to have somebody in your life that can balance you out,
I know.
right?
Yeah, I got great mentors too. Great mentors. That's the other thing too. And like, back to just to go a little farther about like the communication thing. It's like, I try my hardest to, if I don't know the answer, and I'm not afraid to like say I don't know what I don't know. Especially, and I see that in people that hold elected positions. It's, if you don't know what you don't know, it's like you don't know what you don't know.
Don't give an answer.
Yeah, right.
Like,
But-
an answer is okay to say, I'm going to research
yeah,
that
and they're
come back,
afraid.
right?
Yeah,
And
or
I feel like
ask.
they're afraid. Yeah.
Ask others that have dealt with it or
Yeah.
done before
Yeah.
you.
Like,
Absolutely.
surround yourself by those experts who know that.
Yeah.
Bring them to the table.
Yeah.
How much more helpful would that be for planning and development?
Absolutely.
If you've got experts sitting around there that can
Yeah.
already been there, done that, and can give some guidance,
Yeah.
right? Save the heartache and maybe some of the issues, maybe even save some money by
Yeah.
doing that. And it's great when people step up and they're giving of their time, right? Because I'm not even sure, is this a paid position? This is a volunteer for you?
So it's funny you bring that up, right? I did not even know this was a paid position until like recently.
Okay.
Somebody told me, they were like, God, I laugh about this all the time, right? People, again, back to people don't know what they don't know, right? And yes, I'm young, okay? Obviously, I'm a little bit younger than most politicians in this area, but it's all, well, you're doing it for money. I'm like, I get paid for this? I didn't know that. Really? I get money for this?
Wow.
Like,
Okay.
wow. I mean, it's just, again, it is a paid position, and actually, I recently just found this out not too long ago. So
Okay,
it
so
is
you didn't come into it for the money?
No, like I said, back to my blessings. Like, seriously, the Lord has blessed me, and I can't. He will get all the glory. He will get all the credit. And being in the position that I'm in, and it is. It's like even my slogan and on my, I guess you call it, in these speeches that I have to go give, to the public is, I'm doing this to serve. I'm not doing it for the position.
Right.
It's like I again, back to the blessing. I'm so thankful that I've had the life that I continue to have and will have in the future. It's like I don't do things for money. I just do things because it's just the right thing to do.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have nothing to gain, from it. I'm not one of those like, hey, I want the power. That's not me.
It's not a power play. Okay.
That's not. It's too much for me. You know what I mean? It's like, just calm down. Just be. Have some civility. Have a little. I don't know. Grace. There's the word. So,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So is there anything else that you think is a real driving issue going on currently that you want to see get changed, addressed, or other than what we've already hit on, obviously?
So I feel like there's so many things going on, and we could sit here for hours and, have really, really, really good discussions about lots of many things, right?
Yeah.
But, it's just getting transparency and, getting everything out there, and just, instead of, and I always say this, and even with our kids, so I have a 20-year-old, I know, you're like 20,
What?
stepson, I know, right? Hey, my wife's 10 years older than me, okay? I'm married up. And then I have an 8-year-old junior, right? And, with him, it's so funny because we instill things to our kids, like I have one rule, like, and my wife knows this, my kids know this, my employees know this, any person that knows me personally knows I have one rule, like, don't let me be blindsided, right?
Yeah.
And I think, so to me, when you ask me, like, what are the issues, I think it's just being transparent. It's just being accountable. I'm not scared.
And that has really been in the news lately with
Yeah.
Beavercreek Township,
It has been.
the trustees, and
Yeah.
there was some personnel issues
Mm-hmm.
and whatever. Do you have any new, fresh ideas for the township?
And let's take. I don't want to kind of really talk about what's going on at the township right now, because on that whole situation, I'd rather stay out of it, just because of I care about the township and as a whole, and it does sadden me that the township is getting so much heat lately about all this stuff going on, because the township is a great place to live. I mean, it really is. I love Beavercreek Township. I'm so thankful I live there. And with everything's going on, it's kind of clouded, some things. And I really don't like that. And I really just want to focus on the township. I want to focus on going forward. I want to focus on, as this place continues to grow, there's so many things that are coming up. Like, the fire department, and that's our biggest part of our, budget, but that's township. Now, if we go into city, that might be podcast 2, okay? Because I'm very knowledgeable on both, but I don't know how far you want to get into it. But yeah, it's I mean, the township, it is a great place to live. There's a lot of great things going on, and unfortunately, I feel like sometimes in the news they'll always shine the negatives, which is important.
Sure.
There needs to be accountability. There does. I'm glad that the news does it, but there are a lot of things behind the scenes, and I know the township as a whole. I mean, they're it's a good place. They really are, and it's just unfortunately that certain things happen, and
Yeah.
it gets brought to light. And I don't want to. I'm not one of those people that believe in sweeping things under the rug. I think being accountable for the things that you do, and you move forward. So.
Well, and I think that's one of the things that we certainly have advocated for, is for people to ask the questions, to do their research, right? Do the homework that you need to be engaged in your community, whether it's Beavercreek Township, Washington Township, or any of the cities in our area, is just to be aware of what it is that's going on. So many people are reactive after the fact, and then they're getting misinformation or partial information, or other people's opinion, right? And instead of doing their own research and figuring it out, what are the details? What do I really need to know? And what do I really get impacted by? Because that's what we want to speak to. If I can speak to those things that impact my life or my clients in this case, then I know that I'm speaking from the right position. As you said, I'm not speaking, I'm not doing it for the service of the job, right? For the pay, but I'm doing it because it's a service and I'm doing it to benefit somebody.
Absolutely.
The greater good.
Yeah.
And that's really important. But I think anywhere you live, there's going to be problems, there's going to be positives, and we need to just know that leadership, like you said, has that accountability, but also has the foresight. How do we get out of this? How do we make it better? How do we change the perspective? And a lot of that really comes from communication. A lot of people choose to be quiet, not talk about it, but maybe sometimes there's a conversation that could be clear to say, here's a little bit more that maybe isn't out there or readily out there, as you said, but this is why I'm taking the position that I'm taking. This is why we're moving forward in this direction, because that's helpful to people to understand a little bit more, because understand they're not always involved until all of a sudden, what's that going on?
Yeah, it is, but I always go back to it. People don't know what they don't know, and I can't tell you how many times over the last, even before I said I was going to run for township, people, they see me everywhere, and I'm very active in our community. Like my passion is community. We were just, I don't know if you guys saw, we were on the cover of the July magazine for the Beavercreek magazine.
Nice.
And they did this article on us, and it was really, really nice that they did it. And the bottom of it, it said rooted in a community, and I thought about that, right? And I get all this, people have seen that now, and then now it turns into like the 50 questions, like, well, I don't like what this is going on, and I'm like, I don't like what this is doing. Can you do something about this? And I'm like, well, let's have a conversation, okay? Like, let's walk off the edge for just a second. Let's get off the ledge, and let's have a discussion. And and then you're right. You just said it. It's like when you have that approach of let's have a really good conversation, and I can't tell how many times people they go, I didn't even know that. I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
I know. You know what I mean? Because then, and then they get the information like, well, okay, that makes sense now. It's like, yeah, but again, if you just go the extra mile.
I feel like with all of the decisions that are made, especially on the government level, there's a reason. And whether that's like a blatant obvious reason or kind of a chain reaction reason of why decisions were made.
Right.
But I feel like right now what's missing is the reasons are not being put out there.
Agreed.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm
so excited about it. I just want you to know. Like, I'm so jacked up about it. You know what I mean? I'm so pumped. You know what I mean? It's like, I heard this Bible verse the other day, right? And it's like, it's not a Bible verse, but it's this meme that really stuck with me. It's like, God has you waiting for a reason. He's trying to show you something. And my whole life, I've always just been like, hey, let's just go. And this whole thing is really, been such an eye-opening thing for me. And it's been nice because now it's making me wait, be patient, right?
Yeah.
Be still. And it's like, I don't like this.
Yeah, well, September 1st starts campaign season, so you will be waiting.
I know, right?
It'll happen fast.
I know, right?
So I did see online that you received a mayor's proclamation for repairing vandalized Rotary Park. Can you tell us about that?
Okay, so again, back to community service. Prior, obviously, with my construction background, I used to manage the City of Beavercreek account. So I used to manage some of the facilities. I was a subcontractor. So back to budgets, back to understanding how government funding and budgets work. I knew that once I heard on the news, like everyone else did, about the vandalism that took place at the bathrooms, and they destroyed the bathrooms. Well, I spent a lot of time at Rotary Park. Our kids, we play softball there. I play softball there. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, and I knew when it happened the year that budget was already gone. There was no funding for that budget. And it really gave me the opportunity to come in again and, go in. And yes, our company came in and fixed all of them and got them back up and running again. And it just, it's funny because Channel 7 is blowing me up like, hey, do an interview. I'm like, no, I don't do it for the, I don't want the recognition. I just do it because it's just the right thing to do. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Congrats on that, yeah.
I know. Well, I always say it's like lead by example, right? Or try to, right? Yeah.
Right.
Don't talk about it, do it,
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, do you have anything else, Tammy?
So I think people want to know, when are you going to be available for town halls? Is there going to be anything? I know you said you got another podcast. Give us some details and where they can find you online, what's your website, all the good presents and stuff that you have out there.
So Citizens for Jenkins is our website up and running. Facebook social media and, Instagram. You could find me there. When it comes to the speeches coming forward, there's going to be several of them.
Okay.
The Beavercreek Women's League, they do one, and I joined the Beavercreek Women's League because if you want anything done in Beavercreek, those women, they are, hey, that's where stuff gets done. Those women in that room, the Beavercreek Women's League, they do a big forum that you can come and speak at, and there's several different places. But as soon as I get the information, I just try to get my speeches ready and this and that. But yeah, there'll be lots of events coming up. We'll put everything on social media and our website. So hopefully that answered your question.
Yep, and something that you might not be aware of is that the Dayton Association of Realtors also does some candidate forums and also contributions from our local PAC members and things like that. So it might be good that you want to reach out. We'll make sure you get in contact with the right people there.
Please.
And it's just, again, because realtors are obviously in all the neighborhoods, and we have our ears to the ground and all the stuff that's going on, and we're hearing from our clients things that are driving them. So
that's kind of how this podcast started.
Yeah, it is exactly.
So we were looking at houses for me, and I was very opinionated, and she said, we need to start a podcast, and I was like, okay, sounds good, let's do this.
What do you, enough about me for a second. So do you guys care? No, seriously, I want to know from your guys' standpoint, what are the big complaints that you're hearing from your clients about the growth? And I'm just curious, just from.
So I'm the realtor, and she's my client. So we give a realtor client perspective, which is how this all started. Now she might come into the business if I do my job right.
Right.
But in the meantime, what we've been able to do is she's had multiple experiences with buying and selling in different communities, and she's also from the area, like I am. So we can give a great overriding perspective to those things that we know that are going on, that are involved with daily out life and all of the things, right? And so this is more of an informational source, which has just continued to grow and develop. And her background politically helps to know that, hey, it's good for us to get some candidates in. Great for us to have, the hard questions that maybe people aren't able to ask, or this will now spur them to ask some more. So it just kind of brings it all together, and
that.
What our reason is for doing this.
That is awesome.
Non-paying job.
Hey, no, that's great though. Like I said, I appreciate you guys allowing me to come and sit and chit chat with you guys. And if you ever want to put me, would you call it the hot seat?
Yeah.
Hey, whenever you want to put me in the hot seat, I'm not afraid to have conversations. So good or bad.
We'll have to have you back after you get into the position, and you're like, oh man, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
We'll have you in. What are you doing?
Hey, I might have gray hair by then,
What do you want us to do? Give you 6 months or a year?
I know, right? Hey, day one. I look forward to day one. So
awesome.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys having me.
Well, good luck with your campaign.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
we appreciate your time.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys.
Thanks.
Thanks for joining us today on the Realty Podcast. If you enjoyed the knowledge and entertainment today, please subscribe and share with your friends. We will be embarking on a journey that bridges the gap between realtors and clients, uncovering the heart and tea of real estate.